Nicole and I were the first two in line to get Billy D. Williams' autograph.
3 hours in line was totally worth it.
And it turns out that we both hate Attack of the Clones more than Phantom Menace.
I mean, the title alone.
Right? Yeah, and at least Phantom Menace has Darth Maul.
And Liam Neeson.
So, the next weekend, we run into each other at a showing of the original trilogy at the Lightbox. And we hit it off, and she's been my co-pilot ever since.
I thought I was your Chewie. I'm big, hirsute. I throw violent tantrums when I lose at chess.
Mike, I want you to know that the subtext of this conversation is starting to challenge my comfort level.
Listen, Mike, I can be Yoda if you want.
You are not Yoda. You should be so lucky as to have Frank Oz's talented hand up your backside. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I don't deal with change very well. You are uncomfortably petite.
Like Yoda.
Nobody's Yoda.
Hey, you know who's not Yoda?
Seriously? That's your segue?
So the Empire isn't an evil totalitarian conglomerate dictated by a tyrant who deems himself all-powerful emperor, and Joss Whedon clearly used as inspiration for the Alliance and Firefly.
Where did Mike go?
You are on thin ice, miss, so I'll thank you not to badmouth one of the most creative minds of the 21st century.
No, Nicole, I didn't say the Empire isn't bad.
So then how is the Empire anything other than what we think?
Well, let me ask you this. What influenced Lucas when he created Star Wars?
Black and white samurai movies.
Old war movies with epic air battles?
Jesus.
Historical influences.
Nazis.
Nazis.
Jesus.
It's more about how people assume that the Empire in Star Wars is modeled after the most evil empire in human history, but they're not. So what evil empires that actually existed in history are still left?
The Roman.
The Japanese.
Nazis?
No! The British.
Hello.
The British. The scariest thing about the British is,
Russell Brand's inexplicable sexual potency.
Sure.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, no, it's this spot. It's sapping my strength.
Sam, it's a little on the nose, don't you think? I mean, maybe you're just saying that because of the accents. Nicole's got a point with the Japanese influence of the films, like Darth Vader. His mask is clearly representative of the war masks of that culture.
And since Lucas used World War II films as inspiration, it makes a lot of sense.
Plus, the Empire, like Japan, appropriately had an emperor.
You're forgetting the prequels.
Most people try to.
Okay, before they became the Empire, one of the greatest powers in the galaxy was Naboo and Queen Amidala. They were a monarchy.
How are they not the Nazis? Not to get too dark, but the Sith wipes out an entire culture when they call the Jedis. I mean, that's clearly a tragic historical reference hidden through science fiction allegory.
Oh, wiping out an entire culture. Yeah, that doesn't sound like something the British would ever do. You're forgetting the Ewoks.
Most real fans try to.
The Ewoks can represent any number of native tribes that the British had under their thumb. The Native Americans, the Aboriginals of Australia, the Zulu. And the Zulu were a perfect metaphor. The British underestimated them. They thought the Zulu were just primitive, and they ended up suffering heavy casualties.
But if I remember my Zululand history,
Most people try to.
wasn't some furry resistance. The Zulu fell.
But the Australian angle is interesting.
I once had a girlfriend who taught me the Australian angle.
Tatooine is basically a giant stereotypical Australia. There are tons of strange creatures that can kill you. There are poachers, rural farmers, and if you take into consideration the Hutts, it's a giant, unlawful desert wasteland.
Is that really what you think of Australia?
It's not bad.
I'd say at the very least it's mildly racist.
Oh, we were talking about Lucas here, right? This is the guy who created the stereotypical fish people.
Now you're talking danger.
The Gungans, Jar Jar.
Most people try to.
And the walking, talking fish people, they're clearly influenced by the Caribbean.
Big deal. Lucas's childlike grasp of stereotypes does not officially or unofficially make the Empire something it's not.
But expanding that specific part makes perfect sense. The Empire wants to command all of Naboo, and the whole Caribbean thing extends to the entire galaxy. Han and Chewie are pirates, there's no two ways about it. If the Empire had its way, they would all be wiped out. That is not a leap far, far away to connect the Empire to the British Navy and the East India Trade Company.
No. I'm still not seeing the connection. The Empire is way more totalitarian than the British. The main infantry, in fact, is even called the Stormtroopers. That's what Nazi soldiers were called.
He's the teacher, right?
I've never actually seen him in a classroom.
Mike, you do know where the original term for stormtroopers came from. Don't say Jesus. That's what the Germans called the Canadians in World War I. Eventually they stole the term to seem more intimidating and powerful.
So the Stormtroopers in Star Wars are Canadian.
That's why they can't hit anything. Our military is so inept.
I always thought Hoth might be Canada in this allegory.
Because of the inept fighting or because it's cold?
Because we're taken for rides by blubbery white-haired beasts.
Where are you going with that?
It's a Stephen Harper joke.
He did a lot of good for your country.
Your country.
And it all comes full circle. Back to Yoda, the greatest of the greatest goods in the Star Wars universe.
You connected Harper to Yoda?
One of the greatest protests of the British rule came not with a gun or with a lightsaber. It came out of nonviolent resistance, out of teaching, out of the search for enlightenment.
You're connecting Yoda to Gandhi.
Well, it fits, doesn't it? I mean, they're both gurus, and they seek a higher power, and the British Raj are basically the evil forces trying to keep the light side of the Force down.
Wait. I've got this. The Empire isn't the British, the Nazis, or the Japanese. The one evil empire that has the most in common with the dark side is the good old US of A, at least the Republicans.
Excuse me?
No, I know what you're going to say. You would think with the accents of Leia, Han, and Luke that they would fit into Sam's theory, that they would somehow be the plucky Americans in 1776 fighting for their independence, but that's simply because Lucas wanted the heroes to be American as well. It deflects from the fact that the Empire is actually America. They have the largest military force and are the only ones with weapons of mass destruction. They have the most powerful being in the universe under some puppet regime. That's George W. Bush's entire tenure. Vader even wants Luke to rule by his side. That's Dada Bush's entire life goal for both W and Jeb! Exclamation mark. Please clap.
So the culling of the Jedi wasn't so much of a Holocaust thing as it was a Trump thing.
Well, seems apt.
This is total bullshit. I don't have to sit here and listen to you bad-mouthing not only the greatest science fiction franchise in history, but the greatest country as well.
Wait, where are you from originally?
Wyoming. And we will make America great again.
Good luck with the wall.
You guys have been dating for over a month and you didn't know she was American.
Never came up.
Did you guys at least get to do the Australian angle?
Yeah, 2 times.
Hey real students, I hope you enjoyed that latest episode of Night School. Man, they take forever, don't they? It would seem that way anyways, but I love making these things. I have so much fun with my friends, and of course, we were inspired by After Hours over at Cracked. Most of you probably know what I'm talking about. That is some great comedic writing over there. Clearly inspired us to go out and make them for ourselves. I hope you enjoy our little version, and if you do, of course, subscribe to Real School. Click that stupid little bell button they have next to it, because YouTube always have to make things more complicated. But anyways, subscribe to Real School, follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, give a little back. It's the season of giving. Join my Patreon team, won't you, so I can keep this going. And if you have any ideas for Night School episodes, you know where to leave them.